right, now we get into my debates here and getting into arguments. No, I'm not going to argue with him. I have no facts over here with me. Abdullah Muhammed, the making of. Well, let's talk about it, because you know your book has got to be one of the best books ever put together, and basically, I guess, history of Delaware. I mean, and all the things that Delaware has done over the years. And one of the things I was really surprised with, I know we were the first to declared the independence, but I thought it was on the day, but we actually did it, according to your book, 3 days prior to? Or?
No, I actually did it 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks before the Declaration of Independence was signed. What had happened was there was a movement in Delaware to declare its independence and become an independent state from Pennsylvania, because Delaware, really ever since William Penn took over the proprietorship of that area.
Which was known as the territories, I guess, at that time, was it?
Well, it was called the Penn Territories.
Yeah, yeah.
They wanted to break free.
I read that in his book.
They called it the Penn Territories, and the Delaware area was considered the 3 lower counties, and they were a part of Pennsylvania. But in the Privy Council, when they would have discussions about economic issues, particularly farming and such, the conditions and that were different, very different in 3 lower counties than they were in Pennsylvania. There was always a different argument for those coming from the Pennsylvania area about the economy and what should happen with farming and transportation and the industries. So the Delaware delegates were feeling like they were being ostracized. They were really not being heard. So they decided, they just walked out in 1701. They just walked out and said, look, we're going to form our own little thing. And that's what they did, and they formed the General Assembly, what became pretty much the predecessor for the Maryland General Assembly. Yeah, I mean, the Delaware General Assembly.
Yeah, and they should have claimed more land, I tell you.
Well, that's something that they really didn't have a lot of say over, because the counties had already pretty much been drawn as far as the 3 lower counties. That was already set. So because that was already set, it was just a matter of saying we want to just declare the independence.
We couldn't kick Maryland out of that little portion down at the bottom piece.
It's an interesting thing that you bring up about Maryland. See, Maryland was actually supposed to be a much larger state than it is. They were supposed to come all the way up to where Cape Henlopen exists, where Lewis is. But they confused the fact that Cape Henlopen was Fenwick Island. And they said that we wanted our southern borders to go to Fenwick Island. So the cartographers for William Penn say, fine with us. And so they say, all right, that's what we're
So we actually took part of that from Maryland.
We took over 30-some miles.
Well, that makes me feel better. I thought Maryland invaded us.
No. And then for almost 50 years, they tried to get it back. They tried to say, no, we made a mistake. We got to do this again. No, you done signed the dotted line. It's done.
It's important for people to understand your credentials and everything. I mean, you just didn't sit down and say one day, hey, I'm going to write a book on Delaware history. Let's talk about your background.
Well, no, I've been teaching history pretty much for the past 25 years. Been a history teacher, and I have 2 masters, a master's in education, masters in arts. And one of the things that I focused on was history. During that time, I was a special education teacher, and you got to know how to teach everything, but history was my real preferred subject. And when
it's so hard to get kids into that too, you know?
Well, it's mainly because it gets a bit too wordy. And historians just have that knack for really delving a great deal into the minutiae, the small information parts of
things. That was for you. I noticed he looked at you when he explained that. So.
But it's only because they're trying to give as much information. But see, the average person they just want the facts. They're like Joe Fry. Just give me the facts and let me roll with it. And what I try to do is to write my book for the 21st century simply by just giving the essence, the real nuggets of the facts, so that people, my whole expression and motto I live by as a historian is, history read and not remembered is of no use. Because what's the use of knowing a historic fact, but you can't ever remember it? You can't share it with anybody. Yeah, I know. I read that somewhere. I know I read that somewhere. I can't remember.
Well, I like the layout of it. This reminds me of something, you know, and I don't want to put it in that category because I think it's a lot more important than that. But you know, good for the bathroom reading thing because the way it's,
it looks like a,
you know,
easy
just the
read.
way it's laid out and everything. So you know, little tidbits of facts of you know, like you said, instead of reading a whole book on something, you get just the fact of how that took place and why it is today. But you can get this book, I guess. I know it's available all over the place now.
It's at all of the bookstores except the 9th Street bookstore. I have to mention that because I have no reason why you don't want it.
9th Street bookstore, we want to see this on the shelf.
But all the other bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Borders, Atlantic Books, Sunlight Books, I mean, it's all over. The Hagley Museum bookstore. I mean, it's really literally all over the state. I've been very pleasantly surprised with the reaction response. Sussex County, they have been very receptive to not only the book, the calendar that came out before.
Yeah, because I was going to mention that too, because the calendar is also available, and there again with nice pictures throughout the just of history moments. I guess you know, different things that capture that history moment, and it doesn't go good without the book though. You got to get both of them. A website they can go to, I guess.
www.delhistorybook.com. All one word, Del, historybook.com.
They don't give us enough time because I could sit here and talk to you about that because I didn't get. That's why I said it's important for the kids to try to get that kid interested in history. I wish I could have got interested in it back when I was younger. I really am just blown away with it today. I mean, I look at it on a daily basis today because history has a tendency to repeat itself.
And it also has the greater tendency to give you the guidance for the future. If you don't know where you came from, you can't know where you're going.
Oh, you're not. Oh, I thought you were doing that hip-hop dance or something. I thought maybe you were trying to entertain. But Abdullah, it was a pleasure. Hopefully you'll come back. Maybe I'll just book it so you and I just do a whole show because I can sit and talk to you all day long about the history of Delaware. But for all you guys out there, be sure and go to your bookstore right now. You doing it again? Go do it one more time and I'll wrap it up. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, got some great entertainment for you. But be sure and pick up, the whole name of it is The
Making of Delaware, One Day at a Time.
Yeah, pick it up at your bookstores today. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.